Resilience. Resilience is one of those words we have all likely heard or thought about at some point during our lives. I'm sure it is one that many of us have come to appreciate more directly and personally these past few years as medical students. Getting to this day has required a great deal of resilience from each and every one of us. As we take the next step in committing ourselves to a life in medicine, resilience presents itself at the forefront, not only with respect to what we will ask of ourselves, but also what we are going to ask of our patients. When starting medical school, I likely would have told you that resilience means pushing through no matter what, refusing to back down or give in. Class of 2022, over these past few years, each one of us has dealt with unexpected challenges and times that we have been humbled. We have learned that we are not invincible, but rather human, and humility is a wonderful tool. I remember vividly White Coat Week first year. Just hours after narrowly passing the first anatomy exam, I was walking across the stage to be dressed in a pristine white coat in front of family and friends. Behind a facade of pride, I questioned whether I belonged. I'm sure I was not alone. Medical school has been humbling, and those first few weeks were no exception. Life throws unexpected hurdles at each of us. I spent most of the first 2 years of medical school battling fairly debilitating post-concussive symptoms from a series of sports injuries. It hurt my head just to look at a computer screen, and the sound of a piece of silverware landing on a table was at times too much to bear. I was running on fumes as I battled my post-concussion reality, barely staying afloat academically, physically, and emotionally, pushing through as though I had no other choice. But this approach was not sustainable or healthy. I ultimately came to understand that I needed to pause and search for a path to healing and recovery. Desperate to get better, I made my way to a sports neurology clinic in Michigan that had helped many athletes with lingering post-concussive symptoms similar to mine. The clinic's primary emphasis was to return to high-intensity, non-contact exercise to achieve concussion recovery. At the beginning of the week, I was asking the nurse to turn the lights off in the exam room because they were too bright for my head to handle. As I stepped onto the treadmill to try and jog, my head got dizzy just walking. By the end of my time there, the doctors and trainers had me riding a moving surfboard contraption while returning ping pong balls and reporting hockey highlights from a projector screen across the table. I was able to do all of this miraculously without a headache. I left Michigan with an exercise routine that I could rely on, a headache medication that was working for me, and a whole lot of hope and determination. I was able to finish the year of classes and head off to Japan for an amazing Sinai global health opportunity to study, fittingly, resilience and post-traumatic growth. While in Japan, I had a dose of bad luck, contracting myocarditis, a very rare condition in an otherwise healthy young person. Unclear what caused it, over the course of 72 hours, my heart slowed to a crawl and my body started to shut down. Luckily, I received great care in Japan and departed my week-long ICU stay with great optimism that my heart would make a full recovery, but with the caveat that I would need to stop exercising for a few months while my heart rested. With the elimination of exercise, my head symptoms returned. With some further pauses, adaptations, and more patience from the people around me than I ever could have imagined, I now have my head and my heart functioning at full capacity. In some ways, I'd like to say that I am my old healthy self again, same as before, but I am not. The struggles of the past few years have changed me in many ways, but I see most of them as positive. The support of my incredible family, friends, classmates, faculty, and mentors has played such a major role in my journey, allowing me to stand on this stage today as part of the graduating class of 2022. I now sometimes smile, even laugh, giddy with joy, at how wonderful it is to feel healthy, to go out to a restaurant or hop into a taxi without fear of getting a terrible headache. I'm thrilled that I can now work long hours in the hospital despite the noise and previously triggering stimuli that just 2 years ago I would not have been able to withstand. I feel so fortunate to stand here with each of you today, immensely grateful for my education and the opportunity to now go on to a residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation here at Mount Sinai. I hope to help patients battling serious injuries and other debilitating conditions as they strive to regain function and their sense of self. Upon reflection, my definition of resilience has changed. Sometimes simply pushing through or gutting it out is not the smartest or the safest path. I now appreciate the importance of listening to one's body and slowing down to ask for help when we need it. Stubbornness does not always equal perseverance. Resilience is not necessarily continuing to try something that is not working. Pausing and trying a different approach is not quitting. Resilience can mean having the humility and the confidence to be okay retracing some of your steps. It is perhaps about finding a new lens to look through. These are lessons that I believe transfer over to practicing medicine effectively, and doing so with intentionality and empathy. This was my battle. Everyone here has experienced and overcome their own battles, and we all have countless challenges, both known and unknown, that lie ahead of us. We have arrived at this day because of great discipline, hard work, commitment, belief in ourselves, and a strong desire to help others. We have all been resilient as we have lived and trained through a global pandemic, adapting week to week to elements often out of our control. We have learned and grown, all the while keeping in mind those around us who are suffering. Mount Sinai is a special community. I am confident that I speak for many in saying I have been so fortunate to have received my medical education here alongside a talented and committed team of classmates, many of whom have become lifelong friends. I am filled with anticipation for each of us as we embark on our next chapters, with greater awareness of how we can create and strengthen our communities, rely on one another to serve our patients with the highest quality of care, and to feel confident in our own inner stores of strength and resilience. I cannot wait to see what we go on to do next. Thank you.